Netflix is eating Disney's lunch when it comes to ratings, and the only reason is because Disney is scared to death to do the things that are actually working for them. Let's dive into just how bad it is and how easy it would be for Disney Plus to turn this all around if they would just drop the divisive stuff. Hello and welcome. We are, without a doubt, the hardest working class, blue-collar YouTubers out there exposing the entertainment industry. You say, what puts you in the working class? Well, look how much we're working for you each and every day. You say, what makes you blue-collar? Well, it's the tear stains of the entertainment industry as they watch the growth of channels such as Jonas J. Campbell and myself. Jonas, welcome back. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic. How are you, bro?
Well, I am eager to hop into this discussion about the Nielsen ratings that we've just had, and I find them to be very, Netflix is back in a dominating spot. Let's just go ahead and say it. You know, a lot of times we have these things spun out by people who want to say, well, you're just being negative about Disney. Well, no, we're being positive about Netflix. Now, Netflix has been no stranger to controversy itself, and, I'm thinking about some series in the past that featured young girls that I found atrocious. There are some cartoons on Netflix that I find to be devoid of anything substantive or meaningful, but they are just there to be disgusting. But at the same time, you have to give credit where it is due. Netflix is dominating the ratings, and it's showing right here in our Nielsen report. If we take a look at the original shows that have premiered on Netflix, and again, this is coming from January 16th through the 22nd. Remember that we have a delay from when these shows are when they come out and when Nielsen can get us the actual stats. But take a look at this. Take a look at this domination in the original stats. We've got Netflix, Prime Video, Netflix, Prime Video, and then Disney Plus. The other thing to take a look at, typically when you're looking for a show that really has caught on within the culture, something that people are actually talking about, you want to see something that's at least 500 million minutes streamed within that week. And this was a light week. You can see there's only really 4 shows that rise above that. And down at the bottom, we've got the Disney Plus show, National Treasure: Edge of History. Now, Jonas, in my opinion, if it's being roundly defeated by Women at War and The Circle, I mean, maybe I'm just out of the loop. I mean, I know that I cover entertainment every day, but maybe I'm out of the loop. I have no idea what those are. Do you?
No. Well, I think The Circle is a reality TV series. There was also there was a movie called The Circle that came out forever ago. I think this is the TV show. Also, I don't believe that is a season premiere for Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. I think that is just maybe a bump from talking about it at the Super Bowl.
Right. It's just doing its thing. And then down here you've got National Treasure: Edge of History. Gets Disney its lone slot. You got to give it to Amazon, though. They're actually starting to get onto the board now, like you said with Tom Clancy. But and then I'll tell you another one that's kind of surprising to me. This show's taken a lot of flack. People have really, I haven't watched it yet, but that 90s show, I've heard that it's not all that great, yet there it is, pulling that second slot. So does it matter? Well, it must not. Viewers are tuning into it.
I'll add to this. That's National Treasure: Edge of History finally reaching its series finale. So all the people that would say,
I did not know that.
All the people that would say, I am not going to watch this until it's done, finally binging it. So maybe people watching the entire series, it was what finally got them to this number of watch minutes.
Now, one of the reasons that we do such a major comparison between Disney Plus and Netflix is that Disney Plus has a gargantuan budget in comparison to Netflix. And some people will quibble with that. They'll say, well, Disney Plus, the budget that's included in that also is box office and it's sports and yada, yada, yada. It's like, well, yes, that's true. But if you've listened to Robert Iger with the most recent earnings call, he essentially said that everything is designed to trickle into the streaming thing, right? Like all this other stuff, all this legacy formatting, all of the linear television, all of the box office stuff, it's meant to go into Disney Plus. Disney Plus is the thing, and all these other parts of Disney are sort of tributaries into it. So when you compare that Disney Plus has it's like 30 something billion in content spend, and then you compare that to Netflix, which is sitting down there around 18, you can see why it's a huge deal that Netflix is dominating every part of the chart.
It's also that Ginny and Georgia and That 90s Show, they might have some CGI involvement and some tweaking of environments or things like that, but they don't have fully CGI generated characters. They don't have fantastic worlds to create. That 90s Show is a 4-camera sitcom that is dirt cheap to make.
Okay, that's a fantastic point, Jonas, because look at this. Everybody see this? 1,590, okay? That signifies it's over the billion mark. It doesn't matter to these streaming services if that's a movie, if it's a documentary, if it's a so-called TV show, if it's a miniseries, it doesn't matter. That's what matters, that number, right? It's over 1 billion minutes streamed. The budget for that 90s show has got to be minuscule. So to do the comparison, let's say that when Encanto came out, it's pulling those kind of numbers, right? That's the show on Disney Plus, or the movie on Disney Plus that was a box office flop, then came out to be a streaming darling. It's the show about the La Familia Madrigal, okay? So it had those kind of numbers for quite a while. But it also came with a $250 million price tag. That was the budget to get that thing out there. The 90s show is nothing. Like, they're paying nothing in comparison to what Disney is having to pay for some of these movies that are scraping to try to get up to anything approximating that. Now, if we take a look at acquired shows, these are the shows that these companies did not produce themselves, but which they have purchased or that they have purchased the licensing rights for them for their streaming service. Here's another thing to look out for. Walking Dead doing fantastic for Netflix, big time for Netflix right now. Cocomelon. Cocomelon is the top dog when it comes to children's content, beating the other dog, which is Bluey. But Bluey is not shabby at all. Here's the thing, though. Once again, Disney Plus doesn't have anything else except one slot on this chart. It's just Bluey. And Bluey being the little dog from Australia. And Disney Plus continues to censor this show, constantly taking episodes out of rotation because somehow the little dog offends, but it's never in the way that you might expect. It's always in the opposite direction for Bluey. Whereas the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, can put all kinds of things on there that make headlines. Bluey, if it goes in the opposite ideological or social direction, it gets censored immediately. Can't have that.
Absolutely. Bluey, I think the worst offenders are some toots and some jokes that would fly well over a child's head. Also, let's note that Cocomelon is available for free on YouTube and has been for years. And Netflix appears to be making I don't know what the deal was to get Cocomelon on Netflix, but my goodness, to have a show that has that much domination, that is repetitive and is just there to be a nice, safe thing that your child can watch while you turn your back. There you go.
And zero controversy.
Absolutely. Zero controversy.
So that's always a positive for these companies. All right. This is the worst one, though, for Disney. This is where Netflix really is putting itself back in a position of being the dominant force. And when we're talking about that, what we're saying is that Netflix at one time was the streaming source. And then Disney Plus came on the scene and some others, but Disney Plus was seen as the chief opponent to Netflix. It had the best shot at knocking Netflix off the top of the mountain. And, you know, you've got your Paramounts and you've got your HBOs and you've got your Amazons, all that's fine. But Disney was really the contender. Well, Netflix has repositioned itself, right or wrong. It's repositioned itself in the market. It is dominating. So if we take a look at the movies, it's got the top 3 spots: Doggone, Glass Onion, The Hatchet-Wielding Hitchhiker. Then you get the HBOs in there, Netflix back again. But you have to go all the way down to number 7 to find Disney Plus. Now, the reason that this is so bad, you might say, well, Pro, why are you saying that? Disney's got 3 slots on this. That's better than the others. No, it is not. It's the invert. Okay, so here's the deal. Disney Plus, these movies that are down at the bottom, these are kids' movies. What do we know about kids' movies? There's a pattern of watching that is very different than movies made for any other demographic. You see, kids rewatch over and over and over, and there's a psychological reason for that. So when an adult watches a movie, we adults, we know how the world works, or at least we think we do. And we know how movies work. We know how dialogue works. Even if we don't consciously articulate it, we still know how these things work because we've watched them all of our lives. And so when we watch a movie, we might watch it once or twice, or if it's our favorite movie, we might watch it 5 times. But then we move on because we get the gist of it. Children, on the other hand, the whole world is new to them. Everything's brand new. And children also, in this brand new world, they like consistency. So if they find something they like, they'll return to it over and over. And they're continuing to learn from that because, well, everything is fresh. And so they're always picking up brand new things from movies, even if it's the 17th or the 18th or the 20th time they're watching it. So when you see that Disney Plus is sitting down here in the bottom spots with their children's movies, it's a really bad sign because kids watch movies far more than adults watch movies. We've got Encanto, then we've got Moana, which is about to overtake Encanto now, which demonstrates that Encanto doesn't have the staying power of Moana. By the way, watch for Moana 2 to be announced very soon. I would expect it D23. We'll see. And then Strange World being their newest movie already below Moana, which was released in 2016. So to me, this is the worst because what this indicates is that Disney does not have the hold on this chart the way they did just, let's say, 6 months ago. And so that may correlate to families saying, no, you're not going to watch Disney Plus without my supervision. Jonas, what do you think about that theory?
I agree with you that parents are much less inclined to let children sit in front of Disney Plus without their supervision. Encanto is well known. It is a wholesome, nice family movie. The great drama here is the grandmother being a little too dominating. Moana is actually very much in the spirit of the Disney Renaissance, where you have a princess. She's not a princess, but she's a princess. And the defiance of her father, but she realizes her father is right, but she's the one with the destiny. Strange World, oh my, is just a takedown of everything traditional. I don't want to get too deep into it and hijack your video, but it's unsettling in its concepts of masculinity. It's unsettling in its concepts of how we interact with the environment. It is a light indictment of everything about the culture we live in now.
And yet somehow very poorly done even at that.
Yes, it disturbs me that it's even as high on the list as it is, but I'm glad to see it's so low compared to the watch minutes of Cocomelon and Bluey, which Bluey, the worst thing that you might say is your children might be a little too fascinated with the concept of putting you on trial for toots.
Bluey's a very cute show. I'll have to give it to it. Now, I'll tell you this on Strange World, and this is how bad things are for Disney. When Encanto came out onto streaming, and Encanto came out around Christmas last year, Strange World came out around Christmas this year. Encanto, at this point that we're looking at, this is like 5 weeks in, Encanto was still running about 10 times the viewership as Strange World is now. The decline is insane, and that's what's giving Netflix the opportunity to dominate Disney, even on the movie chart, where Disney has the drawn-in advantage. Disney should destroy anybody. This should be nonstop Disney Plus because this should be filled with movies that kids are watching over and over. It only makes sense that Disney would dominate this chart, yet they cannot. Now, Jonas, your video, Strange World, Everything Woke About It, is doing phenomenally well. What do you think is going to take for Disney to realize that this woke stuff is just dragging all of their properties into the gutter?
I hope they understand it now. I feel like they've gotten the message. Of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, what a mouthful of a name. That is doing very poorly for a movie of its budget.
Well, you wouldn't know it from the mainstream media, but the video I put out this morning, I hope, is clarifying. It's on its way to be a flop. We don't know that for sure yet because we got to see what the second weekend looks like.
Because they will never.
Asking me right now, the very likely probability is that it loses money.
Yes. And because they don't want to advertise what their distributor percentages are, what the amounts they have to pay to theaters, and also the cost of marketing the film. And this was their big shot to revitalize the MCU using a traditionally masculine Avengers character. And it sounds like they interjected some messaging in there that doesn't quite make sense.
Well, they interjected stupidity. It's 2 hours of utter nonsense. I mean, it is complete and utter nonsense. So if we look at the overall here, Jonas, real quick.
Yeah.
So overall, if we go back, we remove these subcategories. Now it's just the top 10. Here's where Disney is well, they're just losing. And Netflix has to be sitting on top of the mountain, looking down and being quite happy, being very happy that they have withstood the last year. You'll remember that Netflix had quite the drop in their stock value, and they seem to have rebounded from that greatly. In the last quarter, they picked up about 7 million subscribers, wherein in North America, Disney Plus was stagnant. But look at this list. Overall, Netflix. Again, we've done this, right? One single slot, Disney Plus, and it's not by Disney. It's acquired. It's being made in Australia, and Disney doesn't even like it because they keep censoring it for ridiculous reasons.
And also, that show is available for free with a VPN. If anyone wants to sponsor this channel, by the way.
Well played. Good plug. All right, Jonas, final thoughts on Netflix and Disney Plus. Where do you think this is going in the future? Do you think that Netflix can maintain this dominance? Do you think that Disney Plus will get things turned around? And then also, it needs to be said that some of these other contenders, seeing the weakness out of Disney, have got to be licking their chops. You've got Paramount, you've got Peacock, you've got HBO Max. All of them, they've got to be saying there's an opening right now.
Absolutely. And I think it's fascinating that companies like Netflix and HBO Max, Warner Brothers Discovery, rather, that owns HBO Max, they all understand their position in the market. They don't have that quote unquote magic that Disney has. And even though Disney has this back catalog of wonderful properties, they're refusing to use it and leaving this opening for companies that have said they're perfectly fine throwing messaging into their films. But they're not doing it across the board, and it leaves this opening to where parents will say, okay, well, we'll do a little bit of this, maybe with supervision. And if they don't fix it, I think the name Disney is now being associated with things that parents do not want their children absorbing. Whereas they will accept a little bit from Netflix. They'll accept that they can watch Sesame Street on HBO Max, even though maybe they shouldn't. More on that later. They have to fix it, and they have to fix it right now. They will never come out and say, we're not going to do the woke stuff, because that would be betraying their audience in a way that we saw, betraying their minority employees in a way that we saw during the Wait Till 8 Florida House parental bill situation. But I leave it to you to give us your profound final thoughts.
A whole mountain of mess, you might say, from the mouse. Jonas, your thoughts are just as astute as your image would depict. Has anybody ever told you look like Ewan McGregor in a library?
Well, hello there.
And your hair is always perfect. I have to commend you on these things.
Well,
but yeah, I'm with you on this. I think that Disney Plus and Disney, because Disney is essentially, well, they've hitched their ride to Disney Plus, for better or worse. And if they don't get this switched around, they're in big time trouble. If the experts at Disney would like some expert advice from you and I think I can speak for both of us when I say the way out of this mess, the way out of this morass, is for Disney to begin producing content like Bluey and like Moana. Do what works. Get away from this stuff that's pulling you down. And we'll see if they can put their hubris to the side long enough to make it happen. All right, folks, if you like content like this, make sure that you hit like, subscribe, share this out, and click the notification bell so that you can stick it to the algorithms. We'll keep on giving you the best information we can, bringing you the entertainment headlines that the headliners don't want to give. And wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.